What if the next confrontation in Europe doesn't begin with fighter jets scrambling, but with a ballistic missile rising silently from Kaliningrad, arcing over the Baltic Sea, and descending toward a NATO airbase within minutes? For decades, Denmark was not known for high-end missile defense. It relied on NATO's collective shield. It focused on naval power, Arctic patrols, and alliance solidarity. But the war in Ukraine changed something fundamental across Europe. Ballistic missiles were no longer theoretical tools of Cold War strategy. They were daily instruments of pressure, coercion, and destruction. And now Denmark has made a decision that signals a deeper shift. Copenhagen has ordered the French-Italian SAMP TNG ground-based air and missile defense system. On paper, it's a procurement move. In reality, it's Denmark stepping into the era of theater-level ballistic missile interception for the first time in its history. This is not just about buying air defense. It's about preparing for a different kind of war. Look at the map. Denmark sits at the entrance to the Baltic Sea. It controls the Danish Straits, the maritime choke point connecting the Baltic to the North Sea. In any NATO-Russia confrontation, that geography becomes critical. Russian forces in Kaliningrad are equipped with advanced missile systems capable of reaching deep into northern Europe. The Iskander-M short-range ballistic missile system, deployed there, has a range sufficient to threaten infrastructure across the Baltic region within minutes. That proximity changes the psychology of defense planning. When Russia began launching saturation strikes against Ukraine, combining cruise missiles, drones, and ballistic systems, European defense planners saw something alarming. Even modern air defense networks can be stressed. Interceptors are finite. Reaction time is compressed. Ballistic missiles travel at extreme speeds, descending from high altitudes with limited warning. Denmark had no land-based, theater-level ballistic interception capability. That gap is now closing. The SAMP TNG represents Europe's next-generation response to advanced aerial and missile threats. Developed by France and Italy through the Eurosam consortium, it combines the Aster 30 Block 1NT interceptor with a powerful digital radar architecture. Unlike legacy air defense systems primarily designed for aircraft and cruise missiles, this configuration is optimized to counter short to medium-range ballistic missiles. The Aster 30 Block 1NT interceptor is not a minor upgrade. It features a new Ka-band seeker and improved discrimination algorithms, allowing it to better distinguish real warheads from decoys or countermeasures. In modern missile warfare, that distinction matters. Adversaries increasingly use penetration aids, maneuvering re-entry vehicles, and complex flight profiles to defeat defenses. The Block 1NT is built for that environment. Capable of reaching speeds above Mach 4 and engaging threats in the 150-kilometer class, the interceptor provides Denmark with a defensive umbrella that did not previously exist. It can operate at high altitudes, targeting ballistic missiles during their terminal phase before impact. But interception is only part of the equation. The NG version replaces the older Arabelle radar with the Thales Ground Fire 300, an advanced active electronically scanned array radar offering 360-degree coverage. This system can detect air-breathing threats at distances exceeding 350 kilometers and track multiple high-speed targets simultaneously. In saturation scenarios, where drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic projectiles arrive nearly at once, radar performance determines survival. This matters because missile warfare is evolving. Ballistic threats today are faster, more maneuverable, and often integrated into layered strike packages. Hypersonic glide vehicles blur the line between ballistic and cruise missiles. Traditional defense systems designed in the 1990s were not built for this complexity. Europe understands that future conflict will involve digitally coordinated, multi-domain attacks aimed at overwhelming static defenses. SAMP TNG is designed for that digital battlefield. Its command and control architecture is fully integrated with NATO's integrated air and missile defense network. It can coordinate with systems such as the American MIM-104 Patriot, NASAMS, and Aegis Ashore, enabling layered defense across Allied territory. And here is where the decision becomes politically significant. Denmark chose SAMP TNG over Patriot for its long-range requirement. Patriot remains a combat-proven system and has demonstrated effectiveness in Ukraine. So why diversify? Part of the answer lies in availability. Patriot production lines are heavily tasked. Global demand has surged. Delivery timelines have stretched. But there is also a strategic undercurrent across Europe, a growing desire for defense diversification and industrial autonomy. In recent years, European nations have begun reassessing their dependence on single-source suppliers. Germany launched the European Sky Shield Initiative, combining US, Israeli, and European systems. Poland has leaned strongly toward US integration. France continues to promote European-built alternatives. Denmark's decision reflects this broader trend. NATO unity remains intact, but procurement strategies are becoming more multipolar. This is not fragmentation in the sense of alliance collapse. It is fragmentation in industrial strategy, a shift toward redundancy and resilience. For Denmark, the operational impact is profound. The new system will protect critical infrastructure, air bases, naval ports, and command centers. It enhances resilience in the high North and Baltic region, areas experiencing heightened military activity. The system's modular design enables mobility and rapid deployment, allowing Danish forces to reposition batteries in high-intensity scenarios. Imagine a future crisis in 2028. Tensions spike in the Baltic Sea after a naval incident. NATO increases patrols. Russia responds with military exercises in Kaliningrad. Intelligence detects missile units entering heightened readiness. A limited demonstration strike is launched. Not full-scale war, but coercive signaling. Without ballistic missile defense, Denmark's key military infrastructure would face significant vulnerability. Even a small number of successful impacts could disrupt mobilization and alliance response. With SAMP TNG deployed, the calculus shifts. Incoming trajectories are detected early. Engagement sequences begin within seconds. Interceptors launch vertically, accelerating toward descending warheads. Even partial interception complicates adversary planning. Deterrence is reinforced not by invulnerability, but by uncertainty. Missile defense is not about guaranteeing a perfect shield. It is about raising the cost of aggression and buying time for a response. Denmark's investment, part of a broader $9.1 billion plan to establish 8 medium and long-range air defense systems, reflects recognition that missile threats will define the next decade of European security. Copenhagen is also procuring complementary medium-range systems to create a layered defense structure. The goal is not a single protective dome, but an integrated network capable of adapting to evolving threats. The first SAMP TNG deliveries are expected in the 2026 to 2027 timeframe for evaluation and integration. That timeline aligns with a broader European acceleration in rearmament following lessons learned from the Ukraine war. But beyond the hardware, this move signals something deeper. The post-Cold War assumption that geography alone provides security has eroded. Northern Europe, once considered relatively insulated, now sits within reach of advanced missile systems. Strategic warning times are shrinking. The margin for error is narrowing. Denmark's decision acknowledges that reality. It also strengthens NATO's northern flank at a time when alliance cohesion is under scrutiny. By contributing a high-tier ballistic missile defense capability, Denmark transitions from being primarily a recipient of protection to becoming an active node in the alliance's defensive grid. In modern warfare, influence follows capability. SAMP TNG is more than a missile battery. It represents Denmark's entry into the high-speed, high-altitude chess game of 21st century deterrence. It reflects Europe's recalibration following first-hand experience of missile saturation warfare. And it underscores a sobering truth. The next European crisis may unfold in minutes, not days. When that moment comes, whether in the Baltic, the High North, or beyond, survival will depend not only on alliances, but on readiness. Denmark has decided not to wait for the first launch to discover its vulnerabilities. And in today's strategic environment, that may be the most important move of all.